Stop scrolling right now and listen carefully, because what you are about to hear may completely change how you see Dylan Wang and Bai Lu forever. This is not another rumor. This is not another vague caption. This is not another fan theory stitched together from late-night screenshots. This is the moment everything shifted. Dylan Wang has finally broken up with Bai Lu, and the message he sent her afterward has left fans across the world stunned into silence. It happened on a night that looked ordinary from the outside. The city lights shimmered calmly. Cameras were nowhere in sight. No red carpets.
No flashing headlines.
Just two phones glowing in separate rooms miles apart. But sometimes the quietest nights carry the loudest endings. Sources close to the situation say the tension had been building for weeks. Subtle distance. Missed calls that once would have been answered instantly. Conversations that felt rehearsed instead of real. The kind of emotional space that grows so gradually you almost convince yourself it is temporary. Bai Lu had reportedly sensed it first. She noticed the pauses. The way Dylan's voice lost its warmth during late-night calls. The way their conversations drifted toward safe topics instead of vulnerable ones. Projects. Schedules. Interviews. Anything but feelings. And Dylan felt it too. The weight of expectation. The constant speculation. The pressure of being watched by millions who analyzed every interaction. Every shared glance. Every public event. What began as something tender had slowly transformed into something fragile. Then came the final conversation. It was not explosive. It was not dramatic. It was devastatingly calm. Dylan reportedly asked to speak privately.
No managers. No advisors.
No team members listening in. Just them. One last time. He told her he had been fighting himself for weeks. Fighting the guilt of feeling uncertain. Fighting the fear of disappointing her. Fighting the awareness that love should not feel like obligation. Bai Lu listened quietly. And when he finally said the words "it is over," the silence that followed was heavier than any argument could have been. She did not scream. She did not beg. She did not accuse. She simply asked him one question. Was there ever a moment you knew this was coming? Dylan hesitated. And that hesitation answered everything. Because the truth was not that he stopped caring. The truth was that he began questioning whether what they had could survive the world around them. After the call ended, Bai Lu reportedly sat alone in the dim light of her living room. No tears at first.
Just stillness.
The kind of stillness that feels unreal. As if the room itself is holding its breath. But the real shock came hours later. Dylan sent her a message. Not short. Not cold. Not defensive. Heartfelt. He wrote about the first time they laughed uncontrollably over something so small it would make no sense to anyone else. He wrote about the quiet comfort he felt sitting beside her without speaking. He wrote about how proud he was watching her succeed even when cameras were not rolling. He admitted he never wanted to hurt her. He admitted he had tried to convince himself the distance was temporary. And then he wrote the line that has since echoed through fan circles everywhere. It is over, but we are not done. Those 7 words changed the narrative instantly. Because what does that mean? Is it closure? Is it hope? Is it unfinished love waiting for better timing? Fans dissected the message like a sacred text. Some believe it means he still loves her, but cannot fight the pressure right now. Others believe it is simply a gentle way of softening the blow. But insiders say the message was not meant for public eyes. It was never supposed to leave her phone. And yet somehow, fragments of it surfaced. When the story broke, the internet exploded. Comment sections flooded with heartbreak, support, anger, confusion. Some blamed fame. Some blamed management. Some blamed destiny. Meanwhile, Bai Lu reportedly read the message over and over again. Not searching for hope. Searching for clarity.
Her response was said to be simple.
Thank you for loving me the best way you could.
No bitterness.
No public drama. Just quiet acceptance. But do not mistake acceptance for indifference. Because those who saw her days later said there was something different in her eyes. Not weakness. Not collapse.
Strength.
The kind of strength that comes from surviving something deeply personal without turning it into a spectacle. Dylan, on the other hand, appeared at a scheduled appearance, looking composed but distant. His smile did not quite reach his eyes. His answers were professional,
Polished.
safe. Yet when asked about personal growth, he paused longer than usual before responding. Growth means learning when to hold on and when to let go. That single sentence fueled even more speculation. Was this truly the end? Or is this one of those love stories that pauses before it returns stronger? Because let us be honest, the most haunting part of this breakup is not the separation itself. It is that message. It is over, but we are not done. Those words refuse to feel final. They feel like a chapter break. And perhaps that is why fans cannot stop talking about it. Because sometimes love does not end with fireworks. Sometimes it ends with honesty, with timing that does not align, with careers moving in directions that hearts cannot easily follow. But here's the part no one is saying out loud. If something is truly finished, you do not write a message like that. You do not leave doors slightly open. You do not remind someone of every beautiful memory unless a part of you hopes those memories are not the last.
So the world is watching now.
Watching how they move forward. Watching whether they avoid each other completely or cross paths again in ways that feel intentional. Watching for any sign that not done means something more. For now, there is no dramatic reunion.
No saben diversel.
No confirmation of reconciliation. Just two people choosing different paths while carrying the same history. And perhaps that is what makes this story unforgettable. Because love that ends quietly often lingers the loudest. If you believe this is truly the end, say so. If you believe they are not done, tell us why. Because one message changed everything. And this story may not be finished yet. 3 days after the breakup message surfaced, the world was still replaying the same 7 words. It is over, but we're not done. Clips were circulating everywhere. Fan edits layered soft piano music under imagined scenes. The comment sections turned into emotional battlegrounds. Some accused Dylan Wang of leaving the door open for attention. Others believed he was protecting something deeper that the public could not see. But behind the noise, something quieter was happening. Bai Lu had not posted anything.
No cryptic caption. No dramatic unfollow. No subtle hint.
Just silence. And that silence felt intentional. On the 4th night after the message leaked, Dylan reportedly drove alone through the city long after midnight.
No bodyguards.
No manager. Just him and the weight of a decision he could not reverse. Insiders say he reread the message he sent her, wondering if he had been honest or just afraid. Because the truth was more complicated than fans imagined. He did not fall out of love. He fell out of certainty. The pressure had grown heavier than either of them admitted publicly. Brand negotiations. Schedule conflicts. Endless speculation tying every move to a narrative they did not control. Love under a microscope begins to shrink. And he began to question whether staying together meant protecting her or slowly hurting her. Meanwhile, Bai Lu finally opened her notes app. Not to respond to him, but to write something for herself. Sources close to her say she wrote a single sentence. If it is meant for me, it will return without confusion. She did not send it. She did not post it. But that sentence marked the moment she chose dignity over desperation. The real turning point came a week later at a private industry gathering. It was not planned. It was not dramatic. But they both attended. When Dylan entered the room, conversations paused subtly. When Bai Lu arrived, eyes shifted again. Everyone felt the tension, even though no one mentioned it directly. They saw each other across the room.
No anger. No tears.
Just recognition. He walked toward her slowly, as if crossing an invisible line. The room seemed to blur around them. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Dylan said something no one else could hear. I never wanted to lose you. Bai Lu held his gaze steadily. You did not lose me, she replied softly. You chose something else. That sentence landed harder than any accusation. Because she was right. He had chosen stability, safety, distance. He had chosen the version of the future that made sense on paper instead of the one that felt uncertain but alive. And yet, standing there in front of her, he realized something painful. Safety does not guarantee happiness. But it was too late for dramatic reversals. Too late for impulsive declarations. This was not a movie scene. This was two people who loved each other, but could not align their courage at the same time. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out nothing. No ring. No letter. Just empty hands. I meant what I said, he told her quietly. It is over. But I do not believe we are done growing. Maybe one day that growth meets again. Bai Lu nodded slowly. Maybe, she said. But if it does, it will not be because we left a door open. It will be because we both walked back stronger. There was no embrace.
No dramatic goodbye.
Just a mutual understanding that sometimes love ends not because it failed, but because timing refused to cooperate. As the night ended, they left separately. Dylan stepped into his car and finally allowed himself to feel the full weight of the loss. Not regret, not anger, just the ache of something beautiful that could not survive the version of themselves they were at that moment. Bai Lu looked out the window of her own ride, city lights reflecting softly in her eyes. She did not cry. She exhaled. And in that exhale was acceptance. The headlines will continue. The fans will speculate. The edits will circulate. But the truth of their ending is simpler and far more human. They loved. They tried. They chose differently. And sometimes that is the bravest decision of all. So, is this the final chapter? Or simply a pause in a story that needed distance to mature? Only time will answer that. But for now, Dylan Wang and Bai Lu walk forward separately, carrying memories that shaped them, words that still echo, and a message that will always linger. It is over, but life goes on. The end.